Hey, Dustin Tibbetts with Passport to Wall Street, and today we're going to talk about adding to winners, but carefully, right? So there's a lot of stocks in the market right now that have done well. The markets have basically recovered all of their February declines where we saw that volatility to the downside, and you might have some winning stocks. And so we want to be very careful about the stocks we add to. So we're going to show a few examples today and kind of explain when the right time may be to add to a winner and when may be the time to just essentially raise your stop loss and maybe just kind of back off for a little bit. So let's go over to a first example here. This is Advanced Micro Devices. You've probably heard about this in the news. It's been in the news a lot lately. And the stock price is basically just blasted off. I mean, over the last few days here, today in particular, it was up as much as 10% all in one day. And so if you have a winning position in this stock, well, first of all, everybody that owns this stock has a winning position, but you want to be careful about adding to stocks that move too far too fast. This would be the actual definition of a stock that has moved too far too fast. So adding here, let's say you bought anywhere over this little consolidation. Your stop loss may have been down at the lows. This is an opportunity to raise your stop loss and lock in your profits. This would not be the best opportunity to add. You wouldn't buy at the height of a sort of rocket ship blast off like this. So this is one where I would say, be more careful, raise your stop loss. Maybe it's now a trailing stop of some kind, and that's where you want to work with that one. Now take a look at something like this. Here you have, this is healthcare, the sector. XLV is the exchange traded fund for this one. And here you have one that has not taken off like a rocket ship. You see how it's very steadily every day, just moved a little higher. The down days aren't so scary. The up days are nice and steady. And so this is one where if you bought somewhere, I don't know, before the summer or wherever in this little area here, this is one where you could certainly say, let me add a little bit when it falls. Just let me have a down day or two maybe. And as that happens, now if your average cost is down here, that's fine. You're bringing it up somewhere in the middle, but it's a respectable area. If this starts to take off like it did before over here, when that happens, now you're going to start walking your trailing stop up. So maybe it takes off and you added, this is where you start raising your stop, raising your stop, raising your stop, knowing that it's getting too far too fast, and this is likely going to happen. So you can kind of predict this if you look back and see kind of how this happened in the past. So now, with this one, you'd be more than comfortable to add to. If we look at something like the S&P 500, notice how this guy also just is nice and slow and steady. Yeah, it's got a good couple days in there, but this is one where you could also add to as well without fear that it's gone too far too fast like over here in February. That will happen again. All your stocks eventually, hopefully, I hope the best for you, hopefully they do take off and you've got to make the decision where to put your trailing stop or where to take your profits rather than try to figure out how to add to the position. So remember, not every position you need to add to. The slow and steady trending ones, those are the ones you want to add to. Do that one every time. Just try to pick it on a down day. The trend remains intact, but as it's wiggling around in that trend, that's your opportunity to do that. But the ones that go too far too fast, I want your mind to just flip over to profit-taking mode, and then you just have fun trying to pick the best place to take a profit before everybody else does, right? So that's just a quick example of that scenario. It is happening a lot these days, so we thought we'd point it out again. We did this a while back, but we thought we'd point it out to let you know how that works. It's the same on the downside. If you have a stock that you're shorting and it's trending lower very slowly and steadily, great. Leave it, add to it on the way down. If at some point it falls off the edge of a cliff, well, that's where you want to start looking to buy those shares back to cover and sort of wrap up that trade, really. So that's it. I hope you find this enjoyable. I hope it makes you a profit, and we'll talk to you soon.